Get out, you failure. They forced me to sit there as her mother splashed an entire glass of red wine over my head. The sharp liquid stung my eyes, soaked through the modest pink gown I'd worn, trying to blend into their polished world for once. Get out, you nobody. You embarrassment, she snarled, and the table exploded in laughter. My husband laughed. His pregnant, glamorous lover laughed. His whole family laughed as I sat there, stained in wine and silence, the weight of their scorn crushing what was left of my composure. What they didn't suspect, what none of them could imagine, was that I controlled the trillion-dollar force ready to dismantle their illusions piece by piece. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how a so-called quiet love marriage became my silent reckoning. Before I show you exactly how their arrogance unraveled them, reflect on this moment with me. If you've ever been dismissed as insignificant, let that shared truth bind us here, because staying connected to stories like this honors the unseen strength, and joining this journey by subscribing honors that truth we all carry inside. Enable those alerts, because when a black woman billionaire is underestimated one too many times, the fallout reshapes everything, and you'll want to witness every layer. Now, let me pull you into that disastrous dinner and reveal how the facade cracked before I rebuilt from the shadows. I remember every sharp edge of that evening like it's etched in glass. I was positioned at the lavish dining table in the Thompson family estate, that gleaming, impersonal fortress that never welcomed me, no matter my efforts. 6 months. We'd been married only 6 months, and I was still holding out for some shred of respect. Still believing, foolishly, that patience might earn me a place. So understated. John's mother, Grace, commanded one end in her tailored ensemble, adorned with gems worth fortunes, radiating inherited privilege she flaunted without thought. His father, Tom, anchored the other, dismissing my presence as he had since the vows. Kendra, John's sister's circle of allies, hovered nearby, exchanging glances laced with judgment as they nursed their wine. And then there was her Madison, this poised woman in a sleek black gown, positioned far too intimately beside my husband. Her posture hinting at secrets I couldn't yet grasp. I didn't piece it together at first. Assumed she was an associate, perhaps a confidant I'd overlooked. But the way John gazed at her, the subtle brush of fingers under the table, the way Grace nodded approvingly as if sealing a deal. Something was profoundly off. "Sarah," John declared abruptly, and the chatter halted. His tone was detached, rehearsed, like delivering a verdict. "I want a divorce." The air thickened. The words landed, but they didn't compute. "What? Why, John? We've barely started. What is this?" He wouldn't meet my gaze. "Madison is part of my future now. She is having my child. Care for her deeply. This union was an error. Hit like a silent blow. But we built this on choice. You saw me, the real me. You said I grounded you." My words faltered, composure cracking. Madison offered a faint, knowing smile. She adjusted her posture deliberately and murmured, "You were never the fit, darling. Just a placeholder." Grace rose then, and for a fleeting second, I hoped for intervention, for reason. Instead, she seized her wine glass and hurled the contents at me. The chill shocked me still. Wine cascaded down my face, through my neck region, drenching my clothes. I froze as she bellowed, "Get out, you failure. You nobody. You latched onto my son for status, and now the mask is off. At last, John has chosen someone from our sphere, someone who elevates us." The allies were chuckling. Kendra chuckling. "My God, mother. Her expression. This is exquisite." Tom inclined his head in agreement, as if it were all logical. "You were never suited here, girl. Gather your remnants and depart." I was unraveling. Shirt clinging, vision blurred by wine and restraint. "I valued you, John. This mattered to me. What was my misstep? Tell me, please." John finally glanced my way. His eyes were vacant. "Just authorize the documents and go. Counsel will reach you. You'll depart with zilch. You entered empty-handed. That's your exit." I was pleading now, resolve shattered. "Please, John. We can mend this. We'll adapt. Improve. Just don't discard us." Madison reclined, her presence commanding, hand on her swell. "This is undignified. John, summon assistance." And she did. He actually summoned security on his own wife. 2 uniformed figures appeared, gripping my arms amid my quiet protests, wine trailing across the pristine floors. They escorted me through that sprawling estate as the family observed impassively. Through the windows I glimpsed onlookers, devices raised, capturing my downfall, the definitive march of disgrace, the deepest shame walk. On those front steps, the former Sarah perished, the one who trusted in love amid the veiled prejudice, the cutting remarks on my roots. Let me guide you back 9 months, to where the illusion all began at that charity gala. Welcome back to Her Value Stories, where every story is a reminder that love, loss, and resilience visit us all, no matter where we come from or what we carry. We may never know when life will change, or why certain hearts are tested, but every moment holds meaning worth telling. If you're new here, take a second to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you don't miss the stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark. And to our returning hearts, thank you. Your presence is what gives these stories their voice. Stay with us until the very end. Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. Now, let us continue. I stood quietly near a vibrant abstract painting, sipping sparkling water, dressed in my usual understated way. A simple black blouse tucked into a knee-length skirt, nothing that screamed wealth. That was deliberate. After years of men circling me once they learned who I really was, I'd made a vow. If I ever let someone in again, it would be as plain Sarah Hayes, not Sarah Mitchell, the elusive billionaire behind Apex Pharma. I wanted to be seen for me, not my empire. That's when he approached. Tall, warm smile, easy confidence. "John Thompson." He nodded at the painting. "It's chaotic, isn't it? But somehow it pulls you in." We talked for hours that night, about brushstrokes and hidden meanings, dreams and the grind of daily life. He shared stories of growing up in his family's retail world, the pressure of legacy. I listened, careful, saying only that I worked in pharmaceuticals, long hours, nothing glamorous. He didn't press. He never asked what I earned or where I lived. Instead, he said, "You have this quiet strength. It's refreshing. Most people here are performing. Refreshingly real," that's what he called me. We exchanged numbers, and soon we were meeting for coffee in quiet cafes, long walks in the park, simple dinners at hole-in-the-wall spots. He loved that I didn't care about designer labels or flashy nights out. "You're not like the others," he'd say, lacing his fingers through mine. "You're grounded. Genuine." I believed him. For the first time in years, I let myself hope that someone finally saw past the surface. 3 months in, under a quiet oak tree during a sunset stroll, he got down on one knee with a modest ring. Nothing extravagant, just like us. "Sarah Hayes," he said, eyes shining. "When you know, you know. Marry me." My heart soared. 1,000 times yes. This was it, real love chosen freely. The wedding was small, intimate, just as we'd planned. I paid for half from what I called my savings. His family attended, of course. Grace's smile was tight, polished, but never quite reaching her eyes. Kendra whispered something to a cousin. I caught her kind on the breeze. Tom shook my hand once, firm but distant, then turned back to his business associates. Little warnings, brushed aside in the glow of new marriage. The honeymoon was bliss. Lazy mornings, shared laughter, promises of forever. But when we returned to the mansion for Sunday dinners, the warmth faded. Grace's questions grew pointed. Kendra's glances sharper. Tom's silence heavier. John still held my hand, but I could feel the shift, the subtle pull of family expectation. I told myself it was normal. Families adjust slowly. Love would win them over. I was so naive, clinging to the illusion that this love marriage was built on truth. Little did I know how fragile that illusion truly was. Those first few months of marriage felt like walking on eggshells in a house made of crystal. The Thompsons weren't old money royalty, but their luxury retail chain, 60 million in value, flagship stores in prime cities, gave them the confidence of people who believed they were. To them, I was the outsider who'd somehow slipped through the gates. I was determined to prove I belonged, not for their approval alone, but because I loved John and wanted our life together to be whole. I tried everything. I hosted brunches, remembered birthdays, wore the conservative outfits Grace suggested. I smiled through every Sunday dinner in that echoing dining room, hoping warmth would grow with time. But Grace had other ideas. It started with gentle probing that quickly sharpened. "So, Sarah dear, what exactly did your family do?" she'd ask over coffee, pearls glinting. When I explained my parents had passed away in a car accident when I was 17, leaving me with nothing but debt and determination, her smile thinned. "Oh, how tragic. You must have struggled terribly." The word struggled lingered like pity, but underneath I felt the chill of judgment. To her, orphan meant unstable. Black an orphan. Unworthy. Kendra was less subtle. At one family gathering she, accidentally, knocked a full glass of red wine across my cream dress. "Oops. Clumsy me," she laughed, while everyone else tittered. Later, I overheard her in the kitchen. "She doesn't even know how to hold a stem properly. Where did John find her?" Snide remarks about my hair, my speech, my background became routine, always quiet enough to deny, loud enough to sting. Tom never spoke to me directly if he could avoid it. Family business discussions happened in his study after dinner. I was never invited. "Blood only," Grace explained sweetly when I once lingered at the door. John squeezed my hand and whispered, "They'll come around." But I saw the truth in Tom's indifferent shrug. And my John began to change. At first he defended me. "Mom, lay off, Sarah works hard," but the defenses grew weaker, almost embarrassed. Soon he echoed them. "Why do you have to work such late nights? A wife should be home. Or quieter. Maybe wear something brighter. Mom says you look too severe." Each comment chipped away, mirroring the family's classism laced with something uglier I didn't yet name. All the while I was juggling two lives. By day, and many nights, I was Sarah Mitchell, CEO of Apex Pharma, steering a $15 billion empire from a glass tower downtown. Board meetings, patent filings, global expansions. I handled them remotely, silently, rising before dawn to protect the secret. I told John only that my pharmaceutical job was demanding. He accepted it with a sigh, never asking more. I kept telling myself love required patience. That if I tried harder, dressed better, worked less, they would see my value. I swallowed every slight, determined to earn my place through quiet grace and unwavering devotion. How desperately I wanted to belong. How fiercely I believed resilience would win. I was building my worth in silence, convinced that one day they'd finally recognize it. But the cracks were spreading faster than I could patch them, and the foundation I stood on was already crumbling. As the weeks blurred into months, the distance between John and me grew like shadows lengthening at dusk. I poured myself into making it work, but the family's chill seeped in deeper, and I started noticing the odd silences, the glances exchanged when they thought I wasn't looking. I chalked it up to adjustment pains. Families like theirs, with their polished facades, took time to warm. But oh, how I ignored those flickering red flags, convincing myself resilience meant pushing through the discomfort. What I didn't know then was that behind closed doors, Grace and Kendra were weaving a web. Grace's goddaughter Madison, from a proper family with old ties and matching pedigrees, had been their chosen one all along. "She's got the right breeding," Grace had whispered to Kendra one evening after I'd left early for a work call. They saw me as an interloper, a black woman without lineage, unworthy of their retail dynasty. So they plotted. Invite Madison to business luncheons at the flagship store, where John handled operations. Just family strategy sessions, Grace called them, but Kendra ensured Madison sat beside him, her laughter light, her touches lingering. 3 months into our marriage, the affair ignited. A late-night meeting at a downtown hotel turned intimate, John confiding frustrations about my long hours, Madison offering sympathy that slid into seduction. She played it calculated, knowing a pregnancy would seal the deal. Once I'm carrying his child, he'll have no choice, she texted a friend, as my investigators later uncovered. Grace encouraged it all, hosting weekend retreats, where Madison was always included. Her presence normalized like a fixture. Meanwhile, I was oblivious, buried in Apex Pharma's demands. A breakthrough in biotech trials meant endless conference calls from my hidden home office, emails at midnight. John complained more. "You're always working, Sarah. When do I get you?" But I saw it as stress from his role, not the growing detachment. The slights escalated. Kendra's forgotten invitations to outings, Grace's backhanded compliments like, "You manage so well without family support. Admirable, really." Tom's grunts turned to outright avoidance. John's defenses vanished entirely. Now he joined their subtle digs, questioning my outfits or why I didn't network more with their circle. I felt the unease gnawing, those quiet doubts whispering that something was off. But love blinded me. I reflected often on my own rise from nothing, how perseverance had built my empire. If I could overcome poverty and prejudice alone, surely I could win over a family. Keep going, I told myself. Show them your strength through actions, not words. Then came the invitation, a special family dinner at the mansion. Grace's voice unusually warm on the phone. "We want to celebrate properly. Bring your appetite." I hoped it was a turning point, a gesture of inclusion. How wrong I was. It was the trap, perfectly set, waiting to spring. I stumbled into my modest apartment that night, the one I'd kept as Sarah Hayes even after marriage. A simple one-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood, far from the Thompson opulence. The door clicked shut behind me, and I leaned against it, juice still sticky on my skin, tears carving paths through the mess. Neighbors' videos were probably already circulating, my humiliation going viral in their elite circles. But in that moment alone, something cracked open inside me. I made it to the shower, turning the water scalding hot. As the orange residue swirled down the drain, mingling with my sobs, the grief twisted into something sharper, rage. Not the fleeting kind, but a deep, burning fire forged from years of being overlooked, underestimated. The old Sarah, the one who'd begged for scraps of love, was washing away too. In her place rose someone unbreakable, ready to wield the power she'd hidden for too long. Let me tell you who I truly am, because they never bothered to ask. Born into poverty in a run-down neighborhood, black and fierce even as a child, I lost my parents at 17 to a senseless accident. No inheritance, just bills and an empty home. I could have crumbled, but resilience was my inheritance. I worked 3 jobs, waitressing, tutoring, cleaning, to scrape through community college. At 22, alone in a cramped studio with a second-hand laptop, I invented a revolutionary drug delivery system that targeted cancer cells with pinpoint accuracy. I sold the patent for $20 million. That seed money birthed Apex Pharma at 24. Now, at 28, it's a $15 billion powerhouse in biotech, revolutionizing treatments worldwide. I'm Sarah Mitchell, the reclusive CEO who shuns the spotlight, building an empire from the shadows. Why the secrecy? Past loves taught me harsh lessons. Men who'd woo me, propose even, but their eyes always gleamed at my fortune, not my soul. I became Sarah Hayes in my personal life. Modest clothes, an old car, separate worlds, to test for genuine connection. John saw a simple black woman and assumed poverty, worthlessness. The irony scorched me now. They branded me a gold digger when my wealth dwarfed theirs 250 times over. I could buy their retail chain with pocket change from last month's dividends. And the deepest cut. I'd planned a surprise for our 1-year anniversary. Anonymously acquiring a premium retail brand to merge with Thompson's, injecting $250 million in value. Contracts sat ready with my lawyer, a gift to bridge the gap, make them see me as family. I dreamed of revealing it all, watching their faces light with gratitude. No more. As the water cooled, my resolve hardened. I toweled off, stared at my reflection, curls wild, eyes fierce, and dialed my lawyer. Cancel the merger. We're flipping the script. The victim was gone. The avenger had arrived. They'd dismissed a queen. Now they'd feel the weight of her crown. From the ashes of that night I rebuilt, not for them but for every underestimated soul like me. Resilience isn't just surviving bias and betrayal. It's rising to conquer. That call to my lawyer, Margaret, came at midnight, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Cancel the merger gift. All of it. We're turning this around. She paused, knowing me since my early days scraping together that first patent. Sarah, are you certain? This is war. I stared at my reflection, the woman who'd risen from nothing. Oh, I'm beyond certain. They wanted a gold digger. They'll get a force they can't comprehend. My team at Apex Pharma mobilized like a well-oiled machine. Analysts, investigators, financial wizards who'd helped build my 15 billion empire. By dawn, they'd dug deep into the Thompsons' books. What we found was poetic. 18 million in debt, buried under mismanagement and Grace's lavish excesses. Private jets for shopping sprees, yacht parties draining reserves. Their retail chain was a facade, teetering on collapse with lost contracts and ballooning loans. We moved silently, ruthlessly, through a web of shell companies, anonymous entities I'd set up for discreet acquisitions. We bought up every debt, mortgages, credit lines, vendor loans. The banks, eager to offload distressed assets, never questioned the buyer. Next, we targeted their business core. I authorized poaching their top clients with irresistible offers, incentives no struggling chain could match, and undercut their prices across key markets. Within days, Thompson stores saw a 40% drop in traffic, whispers of a competitor's shadow empire spreading. Then the demand letter. Formal, unforgiving. All outstanding debts called due. 18 million payable in 30 days. Or face immediate foreclosure on all assets. Sent anonymously, of course it landed like a bomb. I had eyes inside, discreet surveillance from trusted PIs. The family's emergency meeting was chaos. Grace in denial, pacing in her designer heels. This can't be happening, our name means something. Tom sweating over spreadsheets, muttering about bankruptcy. Kendra, ever the opportunist, wailed. We should have kept Sarah around longer. Maybe she had some hidden cash we could have squeezed. The audacity fueled my fire. John sat silent, perhaps sensing the divorce timing's irony. His affair with Madison now a liability. To draw them out, we baited the hook. An email from Apex Pharma to Tom's business account. Interested in a strategic partnership to bolster your retail operations. Let's discuss. They bit hard, researching frantically. The mysterious CEO, billions in biotech, a lifeline from the void. As the divorce finalized 2 weeks later, papers signed in cold efficiency, I prepared. Physically. A high-end salon for my curls, a makeup artist for that power glow, a tailored suit screaming authority, diamonds worth more than their mansion. Emotionally. Meditations on my journey, turning betrayal's pain into unyielding power. Every slight, every racist whisper became fuel. I wasn't just avenging myself. I was honoring every black woman dismissed, rising to show that pain doesn't break us, it sharpens us. The boardroom awaited. Their empire's end was my new beginning. The boardroom awaited, a gleaming arena on the 70th floor of Apex Pharma's towering headquarters. My domain, a monument of glass and steel I'd built from the ground up. I arrived early, settling into my private suite to watch the security feeds. There they were, ushered into the conference room. Grace fidgeting with her pearls, her poise cracking. Kendra scrolling her phone nervously, biting her lip. Tom sweating through his shirt despite the crisp air. John slouched, hand occasionally brushing Madison's pregnant belly as she shifted uncomfortably. Desperation clung to them like cheap cologne. They thought this was salvation. I savored the irony. They'd come begging to the woman they'd discarded. 5 minutes past the hour. Deliberate, a power play. I strode in, flanked by 4 sharp-suited lawyers, my heels echoing authority. Burgundy power suit hugging my curves, diamonds flashing, curls styled to perfection. No more modest Sarah Hayes. This was Sarah Mitchell unmasked. Their faces, priceless. Grace gasped, hand to her chest. Kendra's mouth gaped, phone forgotten. Tom paled, gripping the table. Madison frowned in confusion while John whispered, "Sarah." "What?" I took the head seat, crossing my legs with deliberate calm. "Welcome to Apex Pharma. I'm Sarah Mitchell, founder and CEO. You requested this meeting for an $18 million lifeline to save your sinking retail chain." "Correct." Kendra frantically Googled, eyes widening. 15 billion. Forbes list. "Oh God, it's her." Tom stammered. "You're the billionaire?" John choked. "Why hide it? Why lie?" "I never lied," I said coolly. "You assumed. A black woman in simple clothes. Must be poor, worthless. Gold digger. I'm worth 250 times your family's fortune." I nodded to a lawyer. Files slid across the table. Passport, tax returns, corporate proofs. Then the exposure. Timelines of John's affair, starting 3 months into our marriage. Hotel receipts from the riverside, 17 trysts. "Room 412, first time," I recited. Grace bristled. "You spied." "Illegal." I pressed play on my tablet. Her voice filled the room. "Get rid of that black gold digger, Madison's better bred. Kendra's addition. Push them together, once pregnant he's trapped." John's face drained. "You orchestrated this." Madison wept as I revealed her texts. "Pregnant now, he's mine. The wife. Gone. The coup de grace. The cancelled merger documents. This 250 million retail brand. My anniversary gift to you to merge with Thompson's, make you richer. To belong." Grace collapsed into her chair, hyperventilating. John begged. "Sarah, please, I love you." "Mistake. We can fix this." "You love my money now," I shot back. "That's real gold digging. Poetic, isn't it? Meeting over. 30 days to pay 18 million, or bankruptcy claims everything." I walked out, heels clicking, their chaos erupting, shouts, sobs, blame flying. Justice tasted sweeter than revenge. In that moment, every underestimation fueled my triumph. The overlooked had risen. The 30 days ticked down like a bomb's timer, and when it hit 0, their world detonated. Bankruptcy filings hit the courts first. Thompson Retail, that once proud chain, declared insolvent. Creditors swarmed. Properties seized in a frenzy of auctions. I made sure to bid personally on their flagship store, the crown jewel Grace had bragged about at every dinner. Now it was mine, rebranded under Apex subsidiaries, a silent trophy of their downfall. The mansion followed. Foreclosed, contents liquidated. Grace's prized jewelry collection, those gaudy pieces worth more than most homes, sold off to the highest bidders. I heard she wept as appraisers carted away her diamonds, her status symbols reduced to cash for debts. Tom faced the FBI next. Our dig had uncovered cooked books, inflated assets to hide the rot. Fraud charges loomed, his legacy tarnished. Boardrooms he'd once commanded now echoing with subpoenas. John crumbled fastest. No more executive perks. He landed an entry-level sales gig at a car lot, hawking sedans to strangers, barely scraping rent. Madison birthed their son, a boy, but left him weeks later, citing poverty's no place for a child. Court papers flew. She sued for support he couldn't afford. Wages garnished. He drowned in arrears, the trap she'd set now ensnaring them both. Grace and Tom downsized to a cramped 2-bedroom in the suburbs. No more marble halls or country club brunches. Their social circle vanished. Calls unreturned, invitations dried up. Kendra, the sneering sister, flipped from shopper to seller, retail clerk at a mid-tier department store, folding clothes she'd once bought. Whispers reached me. She broke down in the break room, sobbing over lost glamour. John's pleas bombarded me. Texts, voicemails, even showing at my building. "Sarah, forgive me. I was blind." Security escorted him out. I blocked every channel. No mercy for the man who'd laughed as I begged. The media feasted. From riches to ruin, the Thompson scandal. Headlines blared, a cautionary tale of hubris and hidden debts. Their fall became whispers in elite circles, a parable of underestimation's cost. Watching it unfold, I reflected on revenge's edge. Brutal, yes, but necessary. It wasn't just destruction. It was justice, poetic and precise. They'd poured scorn on me. Now they sipped their own bitterness. But in that brutality lay a lesson. Pain can forge unbreakable strength. For every dismissed dream, every racist slight, rise not in anger alone, but with calculated power. Turn betrayal into a blade, humiliation into armor. Their implosion was my liberation. Resilience isn't passive. It's the quiet storm that levels empires. From the ruins of their world, I rose higher than ever. Apex Pharma exploded into new heights, expanding into 47 countries, stock soaring to record peaks, breakthroughs in biotech earning global acclaim. My face graced the Forbes cover that month. The reclusive billionaire revealed. Sarah Mitchell's unstoppable rise. Interviews flooded in. I chose women's leadership summits, sharing fragments of my story to inspire those starting from nothing. With a weight lifted, I gave back fiercely. $60 million poured into a foundation for Black women entrepreneurs. Grants, mentorship, seed funding for dreamers who'd been dismissed like I once was. Watching their businesses bloom became my deepest joy. Proof that resilience multiplies when shared. And then there was Marcus, a sustainable tech founder I'd met at a conference, brilliant and unthreatened by my power. He knew my full story from day one, researched Apex, read every rare interview. Our dates echoed my early hopes. Quiet bookstores, deep conversations over coffee about innovation and impact. He celebrated my ambition, asked about my challenges and victories, saw every layer of me. The orphan who built an empire, the woman who'd survived betrayal. In his eyes, I wasn't a threat or a trophy. I was whole. This finally was authentic love. Looking back, the lessons crystallized. When people reveal their true selves, through racism veiled as classism, through cruelty masked as concern, believe them the first time. Don't waste energy proving your worth to those determined to deny it. Instead, channel that fire into building your empire, brick by unshakable brick. The best revenge isn't destruction alone. It's thriving so vividly they can't ignore what they lost. Success that shines too bright to dim. Fulfillment they can never touch. I didn't just bankrupt their chain. I outgrew their entire world. If this story fired you up, stirred that quiet strength inside you, imagine sharing it with someone who's been underestimated today. Team Sarah all the way. Or do you see echoes of your own rise? Never, ever doubt the quiet ones. We carry storms in our silence, and when we unleash them, we reshape skies. I'm Sarah Mitchell. This was my rebirth. Now go empower your story next. Before you go, tell us, how would you rate this story from 0 to 10? Your voice matters here. And where are you watching from today? Drop your country in the comments and help us grow a global circle built on kindness, love, and second chances. If this story stayed with you, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need to hear it too. Every share, every subscription brings us closer to our 1K family and helps us keep telling stories of resilience, healing, and Black excellence. Thank you for being here. Truly, this journey is richer because of you.